Welcome to the Reddit library. Social/religious norms aside, how would you like your death to be mourned/celebrated? John Cleese at Graham Chapman's funeral is probably one of the best eulogies ever. I would love if a friend of mine did something in a similar vein when I kick the bucket. Edit. Grandma. At my dad's funeral, when everyone was asked if they had anything to say about the departed, someone shouted from the back, "I'm only here because he owes me a $5." Not the same, but this reminded me of it. So much better to have crack at a funeral rather than downbeat cliches. Play a Kahoot with questions about my life. The person that wins gets my will. I want to do this but with Jeopardy. I'll do this with Psych. New Orleans has a tradition of marching slowly to the graveyard, mourning, then a ceremony and a dancing jazz party on the way back to the church, where food and drinks are. The party continues from there. I've always thought this is good psychology, mourn, but celebrate also. Nala Native. The philosophy of celebrating the life of the deceased is one of my favorites. When my friend Ian died, we all got together and watched his favorite shows, cooked his favorite foods, and drank his favorite booze, Tullamore whiskey and a variety of cheap beer. Honestly, I think it's one of the healthiest and most productive ways to mourn. Wow, I love the tradition of doing their favorite things. Beautiful. After my death, just throw me in the trash. Had to go further than I expected for this. If it's summertime, I just hope you die close to garbage day. You'll want your family to remember you fondly after all. I opened the app and saw I had a notification. Went to check it and I saw, "I just hope you die close to garbage day," and was like, WTF did I say? That was so inflammatory to get that response. Joke answer. To a treasure map on my body for my loved ones to follow and discover that the true treasure was the friends we made along the way. Serious answer. I'd hope that my body would be put to use as efficiently as possible. Organ donations. Leftover parts given to science. Leftovers to be burned/buried/eaten. Whatever works for the survivors. I'm not using my body anymore. Then a small gathering with food/music/fun where people take turns coming to the microphone and sharing a memory they have of me. No big eulogies, no mountains of flowers, nothing big or fancy. Just my loved ones remembering me and my love for them for a little while. I agree with your serious answer 100%. I'm in the medical field and so many patients die waiting for organ transplants. It is truly heartbreaking. Donating to science is so important to support new discoveries too. The best funerals I have been to and left feeling somewhat happy and feeling some closure have been the ones with lots of stories told. The stories make you remember the good. I want to become a tree. I don't want my family going broke after I die. If my one street choice isn't an option, I want them to do something sustainable and affordable. You read my mind. Imagine huge forests of the dead instead of graveyards. Creepy but good for the environment and helps growth. I thought about having a family forest that everyone is buried in, that starts with one tree in the center, who is a common ancestor to everyone in the forest. Edit. To add to this, you could have plaques at each tree telling you a little bit about each person, who their parents were, their children, the cause of death, an interesting fact, etc. That's a beautiful concept. There is something similar called green burial or natural burial, where bodies are buried with natural materials in meadows sprinkled with trees. I've arranged to be buried in one of these places when I die. I want to be dropped like 500 or so feet from the sky, and wherever I land is just a surprise. Cannonball funeral. I think there's a funeral parlor that cremates your body and put the ashes in a big A firework and blows you up over the sky. I want that, and a celebration of life. Can I write a will at 22? I want my body to be cured, stuffed with candy, and hung from the ceiling, so the funeral guests can beat the candy from my dead body like a theater. I'll put the fun in funeral. Send me a funeral invite, buddy. I'll bring a clown nose for everyone. If I'm invited, I'll bring a tricked out banner that says /u/fixed full of fashes puts the fun in funeral. I think the last thing he'd want his family and friends to know is his Reddit username. Yeah, well, he's dead anyways, so it's not like he has a say in the matter. I want my remains to be scattered over Disneyland, but I do not want to be cremated. My spouse, a wildlife photographer, said that instead of spreading my ashes over my favorite part of Yellowstone, that he'd throw me out limb by limb, so he could get some amazing photographs. Sounds like your husband and I have a similar sense of humor. I'd love to placed in a wooden ship soaked in gasoline and pushed into the sea while an archer shoots a fiery arrow from the bay. The people will then mourn me watching my ship on fire and crumbling into the sea while a bagpiper plays sad Irish music. Then, after a while people will start questioning the Irish sad song since I'm Italian, but I will be gone for the not to be bothered by them. Nordic ceremony Irish music Italian family. How American. I want my body donated to the body farm with one special stipulation. I want to be put in a car trunk and spring loaded, so that when some hapless grad student comes to check on my decomposition, my corpse pops out at them like a fermenting eyeless Jack in the Box. If I were you, I'd get on this early and design the crank/music box/spring mechanism now, so they can't complain that it's a waste of time. If the universe is feeling really ironic, you'll die in an accident testing the mechanism. I always thought that I wanted to be cremated and my ashes spread into the ocean on a full moon. Now I'm thinking, just fill my belly with seeds and bury me in a forest, so I can become fertilizer for the trees and flowers, and have some trees and flowers grow out of me. Or be cremated and ask for your cremains to be put in a hole and a tree planted on top. That's what I did with my dad's remains, a peach tree, and my mom's, a shadblow tree, her favorite. For my grandma I used a wild rose bush. It's fun to think of the right tree for each person. Like for someone who was a little mean in life I would use a crabapple tree. For a sweetie pie, a drift of daffodils. This is so much better than a headstone. Or move to Washington State and have your body composted. Source: we buried my aunt on the coastal mountain range on the coast of Oregon and planted an apple tree over her grave. That was 30 years ago. When I visit and hike up there the tree is big and producing apples. We used horses and a wagon to take her up there. We didn't put her in a box. We wrapped her in cheesecloth and linen. It was the most tranquil and beautiful burial I have been to. We all broke out some good Irish whiskey and sat until dark. I tell my wife to do the same for me. Well, I just tell her to roll me in a DIT 101. I have a tendency to be late for a lot of things. When I die, I would like one of the following said about me at the service and written on my tombstone. If I outlive the average life expectancy age, late for death, as he was for most things in life. If I died before the average life expectancy age, finally, something he wasn't late for. What if you die exactly at the life expectancy age? Maybe right on time, finally. I don't know if you are supposed to put joke answers here, but there is a type of funeral where instead of it being sad, everyone there celebrates the fun and crazy times they had with you. We did that for my sister. She had said she wanted a party at her favorite bar, so that's what she got. It was so nice being able to focus on her life and hobbies. Listening to her friends share their memories of her really made it a lovely celebration of her life. Wow. I'm so happy your family respected her wishes and did that. What a fun and lovely way to celebrate her life. Just being in her favorite place is so meaningful. I couldn't post this without saying I'm sorry for your loss. I couldn't imagine losing one of my siblings. I want someone to hire a bear from one of those companies that rescues hurt bears and then trains them. Then have that bear be at my funeral, preferably a black bear, because they are smaller and less aggressive than the people who are in on it, a select group of my closest friends. And if I have one at the time of my death, my significant other will walk up to the bear and talk to it like it was a close friend of theirs too. Nothing can be explained to anyone about the bear. As far as they know, I lead a secret life where I befriended a bear. That's what I want. Also, all of my furbies should be there. Oh, I also want to be cremated. I have a fear of being buried in a coffin alive, and cremation should stop that. Wouldn't that just mean you'd be burned alive instead though?